Hosts. There are several different threats that can be created by a host. And when I say a host, I'm talking about a computer, whether it's a server or a workstation, or even a host could be a tablet or a cell phone if need be. The first thing that it creates, the type of threat that it creates for us, is what they refer to as a footprinting threat. And what we mean by this is that every computer or every system responds a specific way. And based off of that, well, we have a whole module coming up on footprinting, but to give you kind of a 10,000-foot view here, if I throw a specific command and a Windows box responds one way versus a Linux box responds another way, I will be able to tell what system it is or what the target is so I can throw the appropriate attacks or see if there's any vulnerabilities there. Another type of threat that gets created by a host is ones that are based off physical security. Is the laptop locked down? My wife, when she worked for Blockbuster Video, she went to a convention where she was doing the presentation. She had her laptop in her purse and she left it up on the stage. They all went to lunch. She came back. Somebody had stolen her purse and her laptop. I've also seen situations where people store servers out in the open next to Billy Bob in the other room. Or I've actually seen one in a closet, which was kind of interesting. Another type of threat that we might experience are password threats. A lot of companies don't have really good password policies, and we've got a whole section coming in here in this course that will talk about passwords, and I'm going to really harp on you. I'm going to jump up on a soapbox because you thinking that using a @ sign to represent an A or $ representing an S or a 3 representing an E is somehow tricky and you're going to throw me for a loop, yeah, you're not. When it comes to passwords, it's always in the length of the passwords. Special characters do help, but you just got to make sure that they don't follow a standard like the $ representing an S. But we'll talk about this more later. Just know that this is one of the threats that can be created on a host. As well as malware. You know, malware's gotten really kind of interesting over the years. It started off where it just installed, we would see things like it installing an extra search bar for you. Or you would install an extra piece of software. Nowadays, we're seeing things that are extremely violent. I don't want to say violent, extremely intrusive. In some cases, I refer to it as extortionware. One of the latest ones, you get it on your machine, it actually encrypts the hard drive, and you have to send them a payment to get the key to unencrypt your own data. It was never your fault. In fact, since you sent them your credit card, odds were they were going to also drain your account. Another type of threats that we experience on host machines include denial of services. Now, denial of services, again, this could be one of those situations where it could be intentional or non-intentional. And what I mean by that is that intentional denial of services is where something gets affected on purpose and creates an environment where people can't gain access to that resource. Unintentionally, it could be an issue with, I've seen this in the real world, where a network card was defective and was creating a ton of network traffic and actually bogging down and taking up all the bandwidth. Another type of threat that we experience is unauthorized access. Billy Bob should not be able to walk up to a server and log in if he's not an IT person. Billy Bob should not be able to use somebody else's credentials to gain access to resources. Unauthorized access should never be allowed. Give an example of this. Again, when my wife was working for Blockbuster, they had a rule initially that was it was a policy that wasn't really followed very well until this particular situation happened. And that is the customer service rep was helping check out videos to a customer, and the customer got the wrong video. So the rep said, well, let me just go grab it for you. And she walked away without 3 fingers saluting, locking the computer or logging it out, the system. And she walked away. And the customer looked around the corner, was able to look around and see the screen. And in there were some notes about her. And some of the notes were not very flattering concerning a situation that had happened previously with another customer service rep. The lady sued and won. So then Blockbuster came out with the extremely strict policy that if you left a terminal unlocked, it allowed for unauthorized access, and people end up losing their jobs. Another threat that we might encounter with hosts would include escalated privileges or privilege escalation. This is actually one of my main focuses as a hacker. If I can get in with Billy Bob's account, I'm either going to do one of a couple of things. I'm either going to take Billy Bob's account and escalate his privileges And if I can accomplish that, then Billy Bob's going to get blamed for everything. Or I might try to create an account and escalate those privileges. I'm never going to create an account named after my name. I'm going to create an account. I'm going to actually kind of hide it and then try to escalate it up so that it can do the attacking for me. And that gets me to backdoors. Now, backdoors are typically created by malware or Trojans, giving us the attacker a way to get back into the system a lot easier than what it required when he got into the system at the beginning. We want to make it very, very easy for us to get back in. One of the most common ways that I've tested and tried doing is I'll actually go in and take a look at service accounts. In fact, this is one of the things I try to get across when it comes to security and ethical hacking is review your service accounts. Obviously, if I go in as an attacker and say I'm going to create an account called Zeus and give it administrative rights, and you're the IT guy and you look at it and you go, what's this Zeus thing? That sticks out really, really obviously. But instead, if I go through and create an account that's called Exchange Admin Backup Services, well, unless you know Exchange and you know what accounts it creates, you may not question that particular account, because we all know that if we delete the wrong account that deals with a service, we could actually end up affecting that particular service. So, if I delete it, maybe I'm going to blow up Exchange.